Ferris. This is Cooking for Bachelors. When people ask me what my favorite food is, I always say something with tomato sauce. And one of my favorites is meatballs and spaghetti. That's something that everybody craves, but you don't always eat well everywhere. So we're going to start off with a pound of chopped meat. We're just going to punch a little dent into it, add 1 egg. That's not measuring, 1 egg, and some pre-flavored breadcrumbs. How much? A little bit. You'll know when you start making it. Some salt. Add what you like for your taste. And fresh ground pepper. Now we're going to use our hands and mush it together. Now if you really want to know if you have enough egg or enough breadcrumbs, you'll be able to tell by the feel of it. You don't want it too slimy or mushy, then you add breadcrumbs. You don't want it too sandy, then you would add another egg. Now it all depends on the fat content of your meat, how it's going to all plan out. But you'll see, you'll feel it and you'll know. It should be a little sandy feeling and a little mushy feeling. Just make sure everything's blended. If you see any streaks, just mush it up a little more. This is what it's going to look like. And now you start rolling your balls. You grab a little and kind of feel exactly how much you have. And this is going to be your meatball. And you're going to roll them all about the same size. So you grab the same amount of meat and roll it. Please don't over-roll your meatballs. Just a few and that's enough. If you over-roll them, the moisture will start coming out and they'll be very hard. Make them all the same size so they cook evenly. And we're going to brown these first and then cook them in the tomato sauce. Well, we have 2 pots going at the same time. One of them has olive oil and garlic in it. I'm going to put sliced garlic in. And sliced garlic is probably the way you're going to go most of all with it. And in this olive oil over here, we're going to brown our meatballs. These are going to be really nice at the edge here. And we're going to put them all in, and then we're going to turn them over and just brown them. We're not cooking them all the way through. They're actually going to cook in the sauce. So the sauce is going to cook the meatballs, and the meatballs are going to flavor the sauce all at the same time. Now we're going to add tomatoes slowly. Now all of these was those canned tomatoes. Oh, and look at that, it's beautiful. The tomatoes and the olive oil are having a very nice time interacting in there. If you spread it around, you will cool the temperature of the oil faster and you won't have so much splatter. And you can see the oil separated a little bit. That is going to be so delicious on your pasta. Okay, so that's about all you want to put in there. You're going to add some fresh basil. I'm just going to rip it apart a little bit. And again, some wonderful fresh ground pepper. I love this fresh ground pepper. This is all this is. This is pomodoro. Olive oil, garlic, tomatoes, basil. We're going to add a little salt. Okay, how long did that take? Just a few minutes. You just heat it through, and that's your sauce. I'm going to use this cover, and that's going to heat through. Oh, what do we have here? We have water almost boiled for pasta. Well, isn't that great? Everything's coming together at the same time. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add the meatballs to our sauce. We have beautiful pomodoro sauce, and you can stop right there, or you can add the meatballs. If you're going to add the meatballs, a good idea would be to add paste first because you want a thicker sauce with the meatballs. So we're going to add a full can of paste. And to each can of paste, you need to add 1 can of liquid. The liquid we're going to add is actually from the tomatoes. We're going to put a little bit of wine in it. Yes, you can pour the rest in the glass and enjoy it. And now we're going to add our meatballs. Put them all in there. In fact, what we're going to put in there is all of the olive oil and all of the juices as well. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I know how to do yummy. that's going to be wonderful. We're going to cook that. We're just going to cover and cook it for a while, and it's going to be delicious. Now we're just going to wait for our water to boil, which is just seconds away, and we're going to put our fresh pasta in. This is fresh pasta, and I recommend using fresh pasta because it only takes, first of all, it's delicious, but it only takes a few minutes to cook. So it will be very easy. Now, if you buy fresh pasta, you can freeze it, and it will still cook like fresh pasta. It might take a minute or two longer if it's a wider pasta, or just a minute if it's a thinner pasta. And you put in as much as you want to eat. If you're one person, a big handful is enough. And that's just going to come to a boil again. It's only going to be a few minutes. So we cut our chicken cutlets. We have been soaking them in a little bit of egg. And now we're just going to bread them with our fresh herb breadcrumbs. You just toss it till it's covered, shake off any excess. And that's it, folks. That's it. I know you can do this. Don't sit around watching me. Just go cook. Okay? There we go. And that's it. We have this wonderful sizzle going on these cutlets, which we used our own herb breadcrumbs. And they're just going to take a few minutes to cook. When they're brown around the edges, then you know to turn it over. How's our cutlets doing? You can turn them over. Ooh, look, a little pasta got in there. Everybody wants to get into the act, huh? These are going to be beautiful. It's the simplest thing to do. Look how fast this is. Chicken cutlets. I turned it over. Almost done with our own herb breadcrumbs. It's going to be delicious. The pasta's really only going to take a few minutes. And our sauce, let's see how our sauce is doing. Whoa, excellent. Let's check on the pasta. Oh, it almost looks done. And you can see what it looks like. It might still be a little al dente meaning hard. But I think the cutlets are done. Take the cutlets out before you turn the heat off. Drip a little of the oil off. And put them on a paper towel to block the rest of the oil. Okay, we have some butter melting over here, and to that we are going to add some fresh parsley, yummy, a little bit of salt because this is sweet butter. If you have salted butter, please don't add more salt, and you don't need that much to it. And we are going to add the wonderful garlic infused oil that we have here. After all, this is going to be for garlic bread. All right, now since the butter is melted already, we're just going to mix it and turn it off because you just don't want to burn that butter, and all the flavors are going to sit there for a few seconds and infuse. So we have our pasta drained, and we're going to put it back in a pot. Why? We need to add our sauce to it when it's heating. The reason being is it won't have a separation of water like pasta sometimes does when you put sauce on it. So we're just going to get some of the very top sauce. We don't need the meatballs. If you notice, what I'm doing is to carry my spoon over. I'm actually using the cover so that nothing drips. Boy, that sauce looks really good. And we're just going to mix a little sauce into the pasta. When you serve it, you can serve it with just a little sauce, and then you can add more sauce and meatballs later. Okay, good. Now we're coming back here, and we're going to take our butter, garlic, oil, parsley, yummy sauce, and spoon it over the bread. And then we're going to pop it in the oven just to toast for a few minutes. You don't need a lot of time for this, otherwise your bread is going to get really like toast and hard to eat. So now it's going to be nice and buttery, garlicky, and gooey, and all sorts of good things. Isn't it good food? You know, everything I use is all pure ingredients, and there's nothing wrong with using a little butter. As long as you don't use it to excess, it's not really a bad ingredient. It's a wonderful ingredient, and it's so much healthier for you than any other substitutes. And actually, if you remember, we actually have half olive oil in this. So you have a little good oil with your not so good oil. The parsley also is going to help. You know, parsley is a natural breath freshener, so the parsley is actually going to help the garlic breath. Did you know that? It's also very high in vitamin C and A, and a natural diuretic. just in case you wanted to know that information. Just going to pop this in the oven. And I put it on the middle because we're going to take our chicken cutlets and we're going to make chicken parmesan with that. So back to our sauce. We're borrowing a lot of sauce from our meatballs here. Just a little bit, you spoon over. I'll come show you in a second when we put the cheese on. We just put a little fresh mozzarella cheese. You really don't need too much. This is fresh and it's delicious. I'm going to put this into the oven just until it melts. To accompany our wonderful Italian meal, we're going to make Caesar dressing. Now what I have here is anchovies that I cut up. You can use anchovy paste, but I really love the fresh. And we're going to mix it with a raw egg. Now I'm going to show you how to separate the egg yolk from the egg white, which is you crack open the egg and you hold it, you let all the white just drip out, and you toss the yolk back and forth while the white drips out. Keep on doing that until you lose it all. You could cheat a little, use your fingers. There we go. Okay, we have the yolk. Now there's a debate about egg yolks if you want to use them. This is personal, this is purely personal. So please make your own decision here. Okay? We're going to put in the anchovies and mix that together. Now we're going to strain in some olive oil which has been sitting with garlic in it. We don't want the garlic pieces because that will be too hot. So we're running it through this little tea strainer. And you're going to come up with about equal parts olive oil to the egg mixture. Mix that. We're going to add a dash of dry mustard. I know this is no measuring, but this is the best we're going to do, okay? So it won't hurt you if you add a little more or a little less of anything. This is purely to taste. Now you want the juice of a half of a lemon. The best way to get juice out of a lemon is to actually stick your fork in it to release the juices. And if you hold it up, if there's any seeds, you'll spot them before they fall down. Okay, now we have our juice. We're going to mix that once again. And when you mix the ingredients all together, they're going to get a little thickened between the egg and the oil. Now we're going to add it to our, this is romaine lettuce. You can cut it up yourself. Add it to the salad. We'll make sure we get some of those anchovies. That's delicious. Yum. Okay, you might not want all of it. Add what you want according to how much lettuce you have in your bowl. Fresh ground pepper. This is great. This is the best part. And make sure it's freshly ground because it's so sweet and aromatic. You won't need any salt because you have the anchovies. And then some freshly ground Romano cheese. Oh yeah, that's it. And then toss. Is that beautiful? This is going to be wonderful taste and a compliment to our dinner. Yummy. Well, I think everybody's hungry now. What have we done? Let's see. We have meatballs and pasta sauce. We have a pomodoro with chicken parmesan. We have garlic bread. And from our garlic bread, we've made our own croutons. All we did was take the toasted bread and cut it in small pieces. And now we're going to add it to our beautiful Caesar salad. See how easy that is? You can do this also.